All right, so I just got done rearranging the furniture for like the thousandth time in this tiny apartment. And I think after 20 days, this is going to be the final configuration. Bookshelf, TV stand, um, coffee table, couch, more bookshelves. I think this is what it's going to look like. And while I was doing that, I came back and I looked in my comments section, and some guy left this comment. Nightfang2910 said that men understand more or less what they can get, while women themselves are not as good at deciding what they want and what they can get. It's like that expression, a you're on a beer budget, but you have champagne taste. That's really what it comes down to for a lot of people. I mean, including myself. We're always reaching for that chick with the great abs or with the really thick, muscular legs or the blonde hair. I mean, we all have our type. And unfortunately, our type is going to keep us single for a long time because not everyone can attract their type. I mean, if I were to attract a person that was exactly at my level, I wouldn't be physically attracted to them. Same thing could be said about work. We're not physically attracted to working at the drive-through at McDonald's, but unfortunately for a lot of us, the McPaycheck is all we're going to get. But today we're going to focus more on being single, being single while not wanting to be single, like being unemployed rather than working a job that you'd rather not tell people you're at. It's like what my old boss said when I was a teenager. He used to tell me this on a regular basis. The big girls are fun to ride, but you wouldn't want to let your friends see you. And I never understood that expression, right? I always just thought he was a crazy old man who had a wife that treated him like garbage, and to this day probably continues to treat him like garbage. But what are you supposed to do? If that person leaves that relationship, they're going to spend the rest of their lives single because they're not going to be able to pull someone in at their level again. With that said, let's get into our monologue. She's not single because no one wants her. She's single because no one perfect wants her. The guys she could, excuse me, tongue twister. The guys she could have had, she ghosted them. The ones she chased are now gone. They're not even looking at her, but she'll still call it standards because admitting you missed your window hurts more than pretending it's still wide open. Oh my gosh, I know so many women over 30 that still think that there's some single man out there, Mr. Right, Mr. Moneybags, Mr. Perfect, Mr. Charming, good looking, in great shape, is going to want them as below standard women. For some reason, I was watching this video. It got recommended to me, and it was like some sort of dating show. And this woman walks up to a guy, and she looks at him, and it's like, nah, you know what? I'm too good for you. And he looks at her, and he like makes fun of her physical appearance. She's got a bunch of kids, and he looks at her and he says, "You don't have any value." And she just looks at him like, "What are you talking about? I got all this." And he just looks at her like, "No, no one's even going to look in your general direction." And she got so offended by that that I'm sure she still thinks about it this day. The expression on her face will never leave my mind because she was so offended that someone would be this brutally honest with her. Because we all walk around. I mean, this morning I was at the gym, the girl behind the counter is a 10 out of 10. Green eyes, dark hair, perfect tan, great shape. She knows it. And for the most part, she's got an attitude. And the attitude is, I'm too good. Don't even look in my general direction. It's the same way that we feel when we're driving past the $1 million homes, right? Don't even look over there. You'll never be part of that. You have to settle over here on this side of the train tracks. And that's painful. I'll be the first person to admit that knowing that you will always have to date on this side of the train tracks or not at all. Because some people get really offended at the fact that you may have to spend money on women in order to attract them, and they know that. I mean, how many guys do I know that have gone out to the bars on a Friday night, bought drinks for some girls, and at the end of the night, they took their money, they they took their booze, and they went home to sleep with that, let's say that pri- perfection, genetic perfection, and most men knowing that full well that they're going to be used by women choose not to participate because women are great at using resources and using men to buy things so that they can get better men. Talking point number one: dating apps, social media, validation culture created a false sense of abundance. Women believe there's always a better man just a swipe away, even when the algorithm has stopped favoring them. This inflated sense of value leads to chronic dissatisfaction, ghosting good men, and confusing attention with actual interest or commitment. Ooh, that hits. That hits hard. It hits right there between the legs. It's a good kick to the boys right there. Because we are taught. In fact, I was watching that YouTube channel Moon last night, and they were talking about South Korean dating culture, and it has forced them into even men getting plastic surgery to reach a level of attractiveness that is a bare minimum by Western standards. It's way too high to meet the bare standards of South Korea. And the more I watched the video, the more it made me realize that we've gotten like this in the United States as well. If you're on a dating app and you don't look semi good, if you can't take a good picture where, bad lighting is your enemy, you're going to be single for the rest of your life unless you pay to play. And the last time I was talking to one of the salon girls, this was probably about 3 weeks ago, she was mortified by the idea that her neighbor across the way at her apartment complex was bringing home ladies of the night. And he wasn't even, you know, uh, he was open about it. He'd pay them in his front door in cash money while in his underwear, and these women showed up scantily clad. And you're just like, sometimes, what's the point? What's the point of hiding the fact that you're not going to be able to achieve high enough to attract a woman just based on your own merit? And that's the sad reality of life, is that you can spend all your time and all your money trying to do what you think is the right thing to do, and at the end of the day you're still shaking hands with the governor and looking at the hub, because that's all there is. At my work, I pretty much sit alone in a room. There are no women there. There's nothing to do. And in fact, sometimes when I go over to the executive suites and you look at all the eye candy that's there in every direction. I mean, I rode up the elevator 2 or 3 times this week with a 10 out of 10, and she's just like, "Oh, well, I'm stuck in the elevator with this gremlin, so we'll see how this goes." They're always polite. I mean, it's like knowing that she lives in a completely different world than you do. I mean, women, especially very attractive women, live their life on recruit mode, while all men, especially unattractive proletariat men, spend their lives in veteran mode and wondering why they keep failing when it takes a one melee hit to the toe and you're out of the game. And that's something that I've had to explain to a lot of pro men is, look at you. No money, short, dark, unattractive. You never had a chance. The women that are going to even talk to you are just going to pat you on the head and ask you if you're even human. I mean, that's how I feel in daily life. I mean, you have a woman that walks over to you and looks at you. It's like, are you a human man or are you some sort of creature that lives under a bridge somewhere? In fact, I say that to women all the time. It's like, oh, pardon me, I left being a troll under the bridge because I had to work today. And it's always funny, but it goes to show that, I mean, you are making fun, but at the same time, you're acknowledging the fact that we both can see me. I choose to brush my teeth with my eyes closed for a reason. Talking point number two. Many women are taught to date up, but are never told they must also be exceptional to attract exceptional. They chase high value men while refusing to adjust their own expectations, lifestyles, or attitude. They want a man with money, looks, status, while offering the same personality as every other girl on Instagram. That's the problem. There's so many beautiful women out there. I mean, I scroll through my Tumblr sometimes for hours on end just looking at incredibly glamorous women. That and just like that video I watched on Moon yesterday, they're using AI over human women to impose a certain level of spectacular beauty that's not attainable. So they use they've have entire AI, what am I going to call AI models that they use for ad campaigns already. They use these perfect people with proportions that are impossible to meet. And guess what that means? Is that men are attracted to the impossible because that's what you're fed every single day through social media. Perfect hip to waist ratio, giant cans, perfect noses, lips pumped up to 50 psi. I mean, all you have to do is open up the hub and you will see a standard of beauty that you won't see when you walk down the street. Unless you work at a university like I did. I worked at a university for half my life. At university, there is so much perfection on campus that you wonder once you leave that university setting and you drive 2 miles away to a gym, you're like, what happened? It's not like you're living in the real world when you're at a university. In fact, this is an expression that I've heard throughout my entire life for the ladies. If you come to this university and you don't have an eating disorder, you will develop one just by being surrounded by unrealistic beauty standards. And then they leave the university and they go off to wherever they go, and that's it. You have to meet a certain criteria. And believe me, there aren't as many good looking men in the world as there are women. I'm willing to bet that the ratio of very attractive men to very attractive women has to be like 1 in 10. Because the average man is not interested in hair, nails, staying fit. His his attractor is how thick his wallet gets. And if you have any doubt, look at the men that the tech bro men in this country. That's I could never imagine seeing a guy like Elon Musk without him being fully clothed. Like that's just gross. Like I can't imagine fathering that many children with that many women unless I had that much money. But it goes to show that every one of these women is exceptionally attractive. And I guess, I grew up with stars of the adult scenes that pretty much since I was a kid. I mean, how long has Sasha been doing? How many movies did she make before she finally retired to play video games on Twitch? Like, you look at her and she's still attractive, but she was a lot more attractive 20 years ago. Could she continue to work in that industry? Yes, because she has that kind of beauty. She's got adult beauty. But men rarely get that. I mean, when you look at the men, and I'm going to use the hedgehog as a reference. When you looked at what's his name? Oh, good lord, it's gonna. I think he's in jail right now. Actually, what was his name? Oh my gosh, I'm not going to ask. I'd rather not ask. I was going to ask ChatGPT, but you know what? Let's just move on. You guys can look him up if you want, but he's a terrible looking man with an exceptionally large piece of equipment. Let's just put it that way. All right, talking point number three. The idea that beauty fades and opinion narrow with age is seen as offensive, but it's true. Oh, I said opinion. I meant to say options narrow with age. is seen as offensive, but it's true. Instead of adapting, some women cling harder to unrealistic standards, refusing to settle while time quietly reshapes their dating pool. They don't realize it, they're running out the clock until it's too late. And by then, the men they ignored are gone, or married, or married to someone significantly younger than they are. I mean, it's just what happens. I mean, it. I don't know why there's a double standard for older women to date younger men, where it is the gold standard for men to date younger women. I sometimes you'll look at that age gap and you're just kind of like left wondering, how does a 60-year-old, 65-year-old man date a 25-year-old girl? It's called having a thick wallet. And age, when it comes to the thick wallet, it's just a number. But you can't have that same argument in in having a woman that's very wealthy who dates younger men. I mean, I know it happens for a fact. I mean, there are sugar mamas just as much as there are sugar daddies out there, but it becomes tougher and tougher to attract those much younger men because let's face it, men search for love with their eyes, and women, well, they search with their hand and they want to look in your wallet and see what's going on in there. And most men are very obvious when it comes to not having money. I mean, it's like the sales guy that helped me yesterday at the furniture store. He was probably around 25 years old. You looked at his cheap dress clothes and you knew he was broke. The way in which he presented himself was very pro. And even though he had a sales job, I could tell he was new to sales because he was still particularly friendly. Once you develop the personality of a used car salesman, that's how you know you've been in the industry a long time. When you don't care what you sell people. As long as you're doing sales and you're making commission, you will sell whatever it takes to your own grandmother. But when the dating pool narrows, and it narrows for a lot of people, and sometimes the dating pool is just a line. For a lot of men that I've met throughout my entire life, especially in the tech industry, their dating pools are single digits and they get worse and worse as they get older. And it's not uncommon for men in this industry to start dating women who work in certain clubs late at night because they keep coming back, they keep giving them money, and eventually they develop a relationship with a woman that works in that place. And of course, she doesn't want to be dancing forever, so they get married. And it's obvious on one side who the attractive person is in the relationship. And it's just strange, but I've seen it so many times because, again, as technology men, they're not men that are out there partying. They're men that spend a lot of time in the basement playing video games, toying with technology, or honestly, I don't really know what those guys do other than sit in the basement and play Call of Duty. I mean, sometimes I'll watch another person like 402 Thunder, and you'll just be watching him playing, and then you'll hear some guy that comes on, and he sounds like he's 50 years old, and he's still playing Call of Duty. It's entirely possible that guy started playing Call of Duty in his late 20s because Call of Duty's been around forever. Hey Siri, how long has Call of Duty been a video game? Oh my gosh. Hey Siri, how long has Call of Duty been a video game? On average, a Call of Duty video game takes around 6 to 8 hours to complete. However, some titles like Call of Duty Black Ops 4 can take up to 15 hours to complete. Yeah, I guess Siri. Well, I'll tell you guys this much. I started playing Call of Duty in 2008, and that's a long time. Call of Duty's been around for about 20 years. So these guys may have started playing Call of Duty in their late 20s and they never really developed any social skills. The worst kind of guys to meet, though, have to be the World of Warcraft guys. I think the World of Warcraft guys are the most introverted human beings I have ever met in my entire life. Having thousands of hours of playtime, you talk to them and you kind of wonder, it's like, oh my God, this is a man with desires, but has never really seen or spoken to a woman in real life. I met a lot of these guys. And it is a, how do I put it? It's like I remember going out to lunch with a few of these guys throughout my entire tech career, and they're really, really eager to meet women, but they don't go anywhere where women are at. My average day at work doesn't involve me seeing anything good. I mean, the only place I see really attractive women are, and this is very, very few of them. This morning I worked out for about an hour at the gym. I kept looking around, and it was a men's prison. That's really how I have to describe it. There was absolutely no women. It was all men of average to below average attractiveness. No one was really fit. Everyone was there just kind of doing what you can in order to meet people. But when there's no one there, who are you meeting? So for the average man, it's either meet women at the gym, at the grocery store, or work. And that's it. That means that a lot of men are going to be single for the rest of their lives. And if you can't get used to that, it makes it very hard. I mean, look at me. I've been sitting in this chair since I woke up. I left for about an hour, came back, and I've been sitting here thinking of things to talk about on the internet as an angry single man whose life and career are going nowhere.